It's been 100 years plus since European settlers arrived, and I thought, well, museum curators and archivists, they must already know everything. And of course, that turned out not to be the case at all. There's all sorts of stuff out there waiting to be discovered. I'm Greg Nesteroff, and I'm a local historian, local history buff. I first became interested in history when I was a kid, maybe 8 or 9 years old, on childhood trips to places like Sandon and Ainsworth. And that kind of whetted my appetite, seeing the atmosphere of places like that. And from a pretty early age, I felt like I wanted to somehow contribute to local history. In high school, one of the teachers said to me, you know, there's a box of stuff to do with the school history, and there were some other students who started writing a history and they never finished it, and would you be interested? And I thought, oh, for sure I would be. And so I thought that was fascinating, the stuff that was passed on to me, the yearbooks and the newspaper clippings. And so I became a historian of my school to start with. That took me to going through old newspapers and looking at microfilm, and so pretty quickly I was interested not just in the history of my school, but the other stuff that I was coming across. I'm looking for a fire that happened on Baker Street in April of 1937. So let's have a look here. I love solving mysteries, or I love having a mystery to chase down. That's absolutely the fun of it, is to see how much of that story you can piece together. Stuff that nobody's touched, nobody's tackled, that's what gets me going, You think, how is it that nobody knows this? Or it's kind of fun, like I'm the first person who gets to know this. Ah, here it is. Here it is. Landmark of Nelson's Baker Street lost in stubborn night blaze. My passion is definitely West Kootenay and boundary. I do find it interesting to go to historic sites in other parts of the province, but as far as having like a deep, meaningful connection, it's about the place around here that I grew up. All kinds of diverse history here. It's not just one particular topic that dominates the history of the Kootenays. There was a lot going on here. It wasn't always an easy history, that's for sure. We had residential schools, we had the internment of Japanese Canadians. Certain groups, Chinese Canadians, were just treated deplorably. So it is difficult at times for sure, but it is fascinating nonetheless. I used to mostly do it for myself. I've written a lot of stuff that's never really been printed. I just did it to amuse myself. But yeah, I've been writing stuff for newspapers for a while. And then a few years ago, I started a blog. I love sharing stuff with other people. The most rewarding stuff is when you can tell a family something about their family that they didn't know. Or some families are just so appreciative, right? You open a window on their heritage that they didn't know about. And I really appreciate it too when families are interested and help me and provide me with photos and stuff like that. To me, that's the most rewarding thing, to have that connection. There's certain things that, yeah, I'm sure I'll be chasing certain stories for my entire life, and maybe I'll find a solution in my lifetime, or maybe I won't, but it'll be fun trying.